All right. Happy Friday, everybody. So, new day, same time, clear channel coming at you. Thanks so much for hopping on this morning. Good to see some of your familiar faces. I love to see more people on screen if possible. I love just figuring out and seeing who I'm talking to in the morning and who I'm going to help out today and how we can pay it forward. I'll tell you the whole goal of Clear Channel, and when we upload it to YouTube and we do it on a weekly basis, my goal is to help change the world one leader at a time. I know by spending some time with you guys through my own experiences and through some of the challenges I've had in my life and just learning business and bringing topics to the table and doing my research and spending the time learning and growing, I know I'm going to be able to help you guys have a good day today, have a good day tomorrow, and have a great career. So thank you for your time. We're going to be on the call for 20-30 minutes covering a topic. Good to see everybody. So today I'm going to talk about challenges and the challenge of business, the challenge of growing in a career, the challenge of growing yourself. Fuck, that's hard sometimes. Excuse my French, but I'm trying to wake some of you guys up. Crap, it's hard to grow. It's no fun to get outside your comfort zone. It's no fun to be mentally and physically tired sometimes. So I know I don't see everyone on the call or on screen, but I do see a few people. So I see Kirsten here this morning. Hi, Kirsten. So Kirsten, can you share with me a big challenge in your career you've had? You don't have to say any names or any situations, but what's been a big challenge of yours in your career since you started in business? Not just our business, just in business in general.
I mean, in our business in general, like a lot of you know my background, I was a bartender server for 12 years. So that was my comfort zone. I grew up there. I, love talking to people, meeting new people, but the business world was not something that I knew. So just kind of coming into this business with not a lot of experience was definitely out of my comfort zone and learning some of this stuff. So, but definitely love it so far.
Awesome. And I see Jason on this morning. Good morning, good looking. GQ, how are you today? So GQ, for you, coming into our business, what was a big challenge? And again, in business in general, not just our business, what was a big challenge of yours?
I'm not a super extroverted person, right? So I had to kind of learn to be more talkative and more willing to put myself out there. That was a different experience out of, my comfort zone.
Okay. So it's just the idea of doing sales and marketing. It was like totally outside your comfort zone, very new. Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you, I think we all go through different challenges. And although it's career-like challenges you may feel at work, I think we all go through personal challenges too, right? I've talked to a lot of you guys in the last 30 days, and just in general, I've had conversations with friends. Outside of our business, there's relationship challenges, there's personal habit challenges, learning how to make, business decisions. There's an old saying I have in life, when your days become more important than your nights, then you're starting to move towards successful habits, right? And think about it. I know for me in my 20s, I love going out. I had a ton of fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still do it every once in a while, but my priority is to get my career and get my life set up. I saw a quote recently: if you hustle in your 20s, then you won't have to hustle as much in your 30s, right? And do it when you're young, in my opinion. Do it when you have the energy. Do it when you have all the, the grit, you're full of piss and vinegar. I know I was for a long time as you're growing in your career. So I want to show you guys a quick video. I'm going to stop and pause the recording because I don't think it's proper for me to have another person's video without, whatever. So I'm going to throw this up on my YouTube channel. But just to preface the video, there is something called the Marshmallow Study done by Stanford a few years ago. And the concept behind the Marshmallow Study was they put 5 to 10-year-olds in front of a marshmallow, And they told these little humans, and I've actually done this with my kids, by the way. It's a hysterical, absolutely hysterical thing to do. And you tell the little kid, if you wait 10 minutes and you don't touch the marshmallow, you will get a second marshmallow. All right, so I'm gonna pause the recording here and I'm gonna play this video for you guys. Play the recording in. Okay guys, so obviously we just got a chance to see some little kids, you know, stare at this marshmallow. I can tell you this is what it looked like in my house when we put the marshmallows in front of Brady and Mason. Brady was like this, staring at it the whole time. Mason was like this, like making sure it wouldn't run away on him. It was hysterical. And we left the room and whatever, and we tried to like peek around as he was doing, but Brady was the one that was like picking at it a little bit, they try to make sure it's a real marshmallow. Absolutely hysterical. Now, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of the marshmallow study?
Delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification. What does that mean, Sanjay?
So a lot of people think that we deserve to have something, or we're supposed to have things in our life, but if we wait for those things to happen and allow them to come into our lives, we're more grateful for them as we're waiting for them.
Okay.
Delaying what you want now for what you want most later.
Okay. So in this study, and yeah, it has to do with delayed gratification. It's the concept of delaying or setting a goal for something and going through a challenge. And when you get there, you reward yourself. You smell the roses and you reward yourself for whatever it is that you're shooting for, right? Now, this study was done, and like I said, by Stanford. The children that they had were, 5 years old. 18, 20 years later, they followed up with the same kids. They had two groups. They had the kids that ate the marshmallow, that they couldn't wait. And then they had the group that delayed their gratification and got the 2 marshmallows. And it was proven in the study, and I'm just going to read some of my notes here, that the kids that delayed their gratification at the age of 5 years old had higher rewarding futures than those who couldn't wait. They had higher SAT scores. They had lower substance abuse issues. They had lower likelihood of obesity. They had better response to stress. They had better social skills. It was very interesting that the mind, and listen, and one of my goals, my number one goal in my life is to be a great dad and be a great husband. And I know from all the things I've learned in business that I'm now teaching my kids. I know from reading books and studies and psychology and learning what I've learned in business, that between the ages of 3 and 6 are the most formidable years of a child's mind. And so that's why I've been brainwashing my kids for many, many years on learning how to look at the world. Like in my house, as a lot of you guys know, the word can't is like a 4-letter word. They don't say the word can't. I stop dead in my tracks. What we say in my family is I can do it, but I need a little help. Because you can do anything you put your mind to. If you believe in yourself, and you believe in what you're doing, you can do anything you put your mind to. But there has to be delayed gratification. You have to set goals for things. So that's the first study I want to tell you guys about. The second study is more of a chicken coop type study. And I don't have any videos on it. I was trying to find some, but just kind of paint a picture for you guys. There's 2 different pens of chickens. And what they did had to do with feeding these chickens. And the way they set up was every time there's a light at the end of this chicken area, and every time that the light turned green in one of the areas, it would drop food into the pen, and then the chickens would all go eat. And the light would turn green, food would drop in, and that was that little area. And then in the second area, they had a same scenario. Light went green. the food would drop. But the difference was that the light had to be green 10 times before the food dropped. And so the chickens, again, growing up in their environment, and in your environment has a it plays a big role on how successful you're going to be in life, who you surround yourself with, what kind of culture, what kind of atmosphere you surround yourself with, what is coming into your mind. It matters to be successful. And in this scenario, they put the chickens in, they spent a period of time. And so on the one side, it was one green light, food would drop, one green light, food would drop. The other side, it was 10 different green lights, food would drop. And what they did was they then switched the animals into different pens. So the ones that had to wait 10 green lights and moved into the pen that there was one green light and food dropped, they were like, nothing went, they were same behavior. They actually, the chickens were confused a little bit, but they would eat right away. But then the chickens that went from the one green light to the 10 green lights, what do you guys think happened there?
They stopped before it got to the 10th green light.
They didn't stop, John. They actually went, it was chaos, absolute chaos. The chickens went nuts because they went from having something given to them right away to having to wait a period of time to get it. And they didn't know how to handle themselves. The actual chickens started eating and pecking at the other chickens, and like a complete chaos happened. And then again, in the study, it showed that if you start off in a scenario where things are easy and you're not challenged, and the moment you're put in front of a scenario where there's a challenge, people wig out. People don't know how to handle it. And so it's actually more important and it's more valuable that things are harder early, because when things get easier later, then it makes it so much easier. Does that make sense? So if things are easy off the bat and then they become hard, it could cause a lot of mental challenges for people. So, you know, and that kind of transitions me into some things I'm hearing in the business that we're in. You know, I've heard in the last, 30, 60, 90 days, so there's different requirements for different promotions, right? So there's requirements for leadership promotions. Like in our office, you have to do a certain level of productivity. You got to do some TV and internet sales because of the program we're on. And in some offices, they don't have the same requirements. The requirements are actually like 50% of what the requirements are in our office. And there's actually people that come in and they're challenged big time by get promoted to leadership. And frankly, in another office, they probably could have gotten promoted to leadership a little bit sooner. And then even getting to assistant management, there's certain levels of productivity of building a team and being a certain, production goals, et cetera. And, I've heard in some offices that those standards, some people have changed those for their people. And they made it a little bit easier, not as big of a team, not as much production, et cetera. And there's something to say about creating excitement in a business. But I can tell you in our office, not only an assistant management promotion is the same thing that I had to do many, many years ago, but the promotion to running an office is even more challenging in my office compared to most offices. So let me ask you, why would I do that? Sanjay, why would I do that to you? Edgar, why would I do that to you? Make it harder for you guys than it would be in some scenarios.
Make us go through the suck now so that when we go through it later, it'll be easy for us. Choose your suck.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Sharpen the saw. If your core is really, really strong, the office as a whole is going to be really, really strong.
Okay. Edgar, I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you, buddy. I appreciate you speaking up, but I apologize. I can hardly hear you. Okay. Keyshawn, why would you say, why would it be more valuable be challenged now as opposed to later?
If you get all the hard stuff out the way earlier, it's like the challenges you face down the road, like 4 or 5 months down, it's going to be a lot easier to overcome those obstacles and challenges compared to facing something easy now, and then the challenge comes up. It's going to be a lot harder for you to like attack that challenge.
Right. Yeah. So you guys are dead on. And I believe I heard bits and pieces of what Edgar was saying. So I remember back in college, you know, some of you guys that may not know my background, I played soccer at Penn State. My freshman year coming into school, we were top 20. The year prior, they were top 20 in the nation. But that freshman year, we went 10-1. We didn't even make the NCAA tournament. We didn't make the Big Ten final. And I remember my coach, who was one of the most recognized coaches in the country at the time, because he was, you know, based on the program, would say things to us like, "You think this is hard when we've been practice." He's like, "Wait until you play Indiana. Wait until you play in front of 10, 20,000 people and you can't even think. Wait until at IU, just so you guys know, for if you guys ever, you know, been there, their band used to sit right behind our bench and play music the entire game on purpose, where we'd be sitting next to each other and we'd be like you couldn't even hear each other and you were sitting next to the person, right? And so we're trying to create and talk and whatever and do what we got to do. It was almost non-existent to communicate. Well, I heard later on, they would practice with the band on the front row. So they'd be used to it in the games, right? That was their way to be their little competitive advantage, their home court advantage or whatever, right? But I remember coach making practice really, really hard. And he used to say things like, "You're going to thank me later based on how well we do." And by the time I graduated my senior year, we were number 1 in the country for 4 to 6 weeks. We were top 6, and then we made it to the Elite 8 2 different times. A lot of the players I played with went on to play in the pros and had incredible careers. And, you know, and I'm incredibly thankful. You know, some of you guys may not know this, but after my senior year of playing, I went to Spain to play. A little bit. I went to study really, but to play a little bit too. I came back my senior year. My coach cut me from the team because I hadn't performed in my first 3 years of playing. And then I ended up almost transferring. And then I actually came back and played my 5th year on the soccer team. And I remember having my whole world falling apart. But looking back on it now, 15, 20 years later, I'm so grateful he did that to me. And even though I went through it, it was probably one of the deepest, darkest moments in my life, besides some other personal things that have happened with my family. But looking back on it, I'm so grateful because he was challenging me and he was pushing me to know that you're not going to get anything in this world unless you earn it, unless you go out and get it. And I hadn't performed. The reality is he paid me a scholarship to play, and I hadn't performed. I hadn't scored the goals. I hadn't had the stats that I should have had. And, you know, and so when I fell into business, into our business, into the business world, I realized what I had in front of me. And I didn't want to have that feeling again. I didn't want to have the feeling of somebody taking something away from me that I knew I could do. So I shared it with you guys. So it's all about how you think and appreciating the challenges you're going through. And if you're going through some personal challenges, I know it's not easy. I know it's not, you know, for the faint of heart, especially relationships. I remember some of the challenges I had in my 20s and the relationships that I had. It's not easy. But no, those things that you're going through, you know, I know that in my experience that God doesn't put all this pressure on you when you can't, and thinking that you can't handle it. Trying to teach that what's happening is he's trying to teach you something. And I'm not trying to give you faith or whatever, or preach to you guys, but I'm telling you guys, I've learned that every challenge I've gone through is because I needed to learn something. There's something I wasn't doing. There's something I needed to change. There's something I needed to improve on to help me level up my life and level up my experiences, level up my habits, level up who I am. Because again, back to being, for my goal to be the best dad, the best husband, and then number 2 is to be a silly, successful business person and take care of our organization and take care of my family. I had to make a lot of changes. So today's call, guys, again, is all about challenges, understanding the importance of delayed gratification, understanding the struggle the struggle is meant to be to help you level up. Don't, stray away from struggle. I would attack it head on, appreciate struggle, and ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn through this? And the more you can change that paradigm and look at things in a certain way, the better off you're going to be in your day and your week and your career. So, but happy Friday, guys. So if you guys can share this with all of your friends, your family, whoever, every Friday, 10 o'clock to 10:30, we're going to do this Clear Channel call again. I know it's a different day, but it's going to be on Fridays. In my eyes, it's something that, in our business, our network of offices, we can use as a big picture meeting or a leaders meeting, et cetera, for anyone that you have that you want to share. I know most of our offices on the retail side of things don't work Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I wanted to kind of position it better during the week to help you guys and maybe have some of your new team members on the call, because I think this stuff can help you guys level up and help you just kind of get ahead in your career. So besides that, just help you get ahead in general. But happy Friday. Again, short-term thinking versus long-term thinking. Appreciate what you go through. It'll make you better, I promise. Life is good, and it's just going to get better. So have an amazing day. Happy Friday, everybody. We'll see you guys next week on Clear Channel. Thank you for listening.